What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So we're going to start off today with the MLB standings, a little update as we are winding down the MLB season. Then we're going to get a bunch of NFL roster stuff to go through, and then we'll call it a day from there. New York Yankees right now in first place in the American League East. They are a game ahead of Baltimore. Both teams last night, Baltimore lost to the Dodgers 6-4. So Yankees still lead Baltimore by a game in the American League East, then followed by Boston. They're still in the race in the wild card. Even Tampa's still hanging around, and then you have Toronto in last place. American League Central, Guardians only up a game on Kansas City. A day prior, the Royals actually tied the Guardians for first place in that division. They have been rolling lately. Like I said, Guardians only a game up on the Royals. Royals have caught fire. You got Bobby Witt has just had an incredible season. The dude's hitting like 340, 350 this year. He might win the bag title. You got other guys in the lineup. That rotation's been very, very good, led by Cole Reagan's a really good young starting pitcher that you have over there. He was in the All-Star for the first time this year. The Twins are only 3.5 out. They've been struggling, but they're hanging in there. 3.5 out, right there in the wild card race. You have the Tigers. Tigers have gotten hot. They've won 6 in a row, and all of a sudden they're right back in the race. Look at that. Team looked dead in the water. They were sours at a deadline, and all of a sudden they are right back in it. And then the White Sox, they're not in it. They have 103 losses. It's not September yet. They are 41.5 games out of the playoff spot. They're 45 games out of the division. They're 38 games out of 4th place in the division. They are, I think that math's right, or I think my math is right, 37 games, all right, excuse me, 37 games out of 4th in their own division. Wow, 31 and 103. 72 games under 500. Wow. Think they got, so they had, that puts them at 28 games left. They got to go 8 and 28 or something, I think, to not be the tie the mark for the worst team of all time. I don't think they're going to get there. I really don't. Like, I don't see how they could possibly get there. I don't see them winning 8 baseball games. They've won 31 all year. It's almost September. It's the 29th of August. August is over in 2 days. And they have won 31 games. They're going to win 8 over the next month, maybe 5 weeks. I just don't see it. Like, I just don't. Like, I don't see how that happens. Moving on, American League West, Houston's still in first place right now at 71-62. Seattle, who obviously been struggling for a while, 3.5 games out right now. Of course, they made the manager change last week. They're hoping that changed something. Everyone else pretty much out of it. Texas, 62-71, is kind of falling off a cliff. You have Oakland at 58-75. They have improved a little bit this year, which is good to see. They looked lifeless last year, obviously. And the Angels, 54-79, are actually, wow, full 4 games back of Oakland. Oakland's 4 games ahead of Angels. Oakland might not even finish in last place in their own division this year. That's positive for them, I guess. Angels are falling apart. They've lost 7 in a row. I mean, they've been bad all year. Now they're really tumbling. National League East, hit the Phillies at 78-55. They have the second best record in the National League, and as well as all baseball, I think right now. They are been playing great all year. You have Atlanta, who's been playing good baseball. They're actually only 5 games behind the Phillies in that division. May have just won a series against them, and so far they've taken the first 2 against Minnesota. And the Mets at 69-64. Tough loss last night. Came back and went up 5-4 after going down 4-0, but then Edwin Diaz comes in with 2 outs in the 8th and gives up a grand slam to Corbin Carroll. Who's been killing him. He's got 3 home runs in 2 games against them this series. You have Washington at 61-73. Of course, Dylan Cruz's first home run of his career last night against the Yankees. And then the Marlins, National League won that game. The Marlins at 48-85 are obviously done for. National League Central, Milwaukee Brewers 76-56. Obviously, a very pleasant surprise this year. They're running away with that division, 9 games clear of the Cubs, who are hanging around the wild card race. So now 68-66. You have the Cardinals at 68-67. They're obviously fading in the race. They were right there in the wild card race, earlier on the year, but they've kind of faded. Reds 63-70, and the Pirates 62-71 are both struggling. Both of them are out of the race. Actually, West is closer than you think, but Dodgers are in first place, 79-54. But Arizona's only 3 games out. of that division at 76-57. San Diego's only 4 games out of that division at 76-59. Both teams, Arizona got off to a really bad start. It was alarming. Obviously, Jordan Montgomery's had a really tough year. He's had an ERA of like 6.5 this year. They moved him to the bullpen. Corbin Carroll, who had a great rookie year last year, was rookie of the year. You know, he was really struggling early on this year. You know, they've had injuries. Ketel Marte, who's a stud, he's hurt. Gabriel Moreno, hasn't had as good of a year last year, but was playing a lot better. He's hurt. So you've had a lot of guys either underperform or, you know, not play out. Eduardo Rodriguez only made 4 starts this season. He was injured for a while. So you've had a lot of injuries, a lot of guys underperform. But Corbin Carroll's turned it around as of late. And you've had, you know, you get Rodriguez back. So you've been able to turn things around, and you've just caught fire. And San Diego's a team, you know, now obviously you make the Juan Soto trade in the offseason, so you knew they would, I mean, obviously last year were a major disappointment. They loaded up last year, ended up missing the playoffs. And then you lose Hader, you lose Snow, you trade Soto away to the Yankees, so you do get a very good return for him, in my opinion. But also, that trade is honestly really helping. You get Michael King in that trade. He's been one of their best starting pitchers this year. He's had a great year. You get Brenny Vasquez, a pitching prospect. You use him to go and get Dylan Cease, who's had a good year for you in your rotation. You know, they got a bunch of Kakaki Yoshioka, who's been a useful, you know, who's been a solid backup catcher for them. So they actually got a very good return for Juan Soto, a guy who they were not going to pay. You know, he's going to obviously be the top free agent in it, this winter. And, you know, they're a team early on. They go, all right. They go out and get Matsu, whatever his name is, to help with the bullpen. They improve their rotation a lot. Obviously, you make the trade in April to get Luis Arraez, which helps the lineup. You still have, Tatis. You have him for the full year. You still have Manny Machado. You still got, Jackson Merrill makes the team out of camp. This team could be, honestly, even better, even though they lost a bunch of guys. And early on, they were just kind of okay, hanging around, but they've caught fire since the break. And they're in a wild card spot. You have a Giants at 67-67. They're hanging by a cliff right now. You know, they were not as good as I thought they could be. You know, I mean, they had a really strong offseason on paper. You know, Snell got off to a horrible start, but he's found himself again. Chapman, same thing, off to a horrible start. He's kind of locked in as the season's gone on. You know, Jung Ho Lee, who you spent a lot of money on to hit leadoff for you, M+ center field. You know, he goes down in April for the year, and just, you know, it's been kind of a wonky year for them. And then the Rockies at 1584 are obviously years out of the race. Let's take a look at the wild card race. Specifically, the American League, first wild card is, of course, Baltimore. They're 4.5 games clear. And two games clear of a second spot. Of course, they're a game out of their own division. Kansas City has stormed into the second wild card spot, and very comfortably, too. 2.5 games ahead of the third spot. And Minnesota's that last team in right now. You have Boston is 3 games out. Detroit Tigers are 4.5 games out. So, like I said, they've stormed right back into the race. We're winning 6 straight, 8 of 10. Seattle's 4.5 games out. Of course, only 3.5 of their own division. And Tampa is at 6 games out. So, a lot of teams are really shut up. You know, Kansas City's gotten hot. Looks like they're going to make the playoffs. Detroit has gotten themselves back into the race. Obviously, 4.5 games out with, I think they have, 28 games to go. It's not going to be easy, but, and that's not a playoff caliber team on paper, but, you know, and we playoffs, it's whoever gets high has the best shot. If they can, they stay high over the final month of the year, they sneak in, you never know. Then in the National League, first wild card is the Diamondbacks. They're a game ahead of San Diego. Atlanta's the last team in. They're 2 games back of the second spot. They're 3 games back of the first spot. The Mets are 4 games out. I don't see it with the Mets. I don't see them making the playoffs. I mean, the Braves are rolling right now. They're a better baseball team than the Mets overall. Mets, they just don't have the pitching. I know, Shomania has been pitching great. Pearson's has had a breakout year this year, which kind of came out of nowhere. You know, Quintana overall has been sour. He's been up and down this year. Severino had a great first half, and he was struggling for a while. Had a couple of really good outings, but wasn't great last night. So he's been up and down a lot lately, and now Blackburn's hurt. So you might have Tyler McGill back in the rotation, which is obviously not a good thing. So, I mean, the lineup is very, very good. Lindor's had a phenomenal year. Vientos has been great. You have a very good lineup. Nima's been great. Nima's not been great this year. Had that one hot streak. McNeil's found himself. Obviously, Jose Iglesias has hit really well since he came over. Alonso hasn't had his best year, but the guy still got 28 bombs and 75 RBIs. So I mean, Jim Martinez has been pretty good. So they've been good offensively, but pitching wise, they just don't have it. And that bullpen really is, it's just not that good. Diaz lately, I mean, he gave up a bomb last night, but overall, he's been very good lately. Buto's been really good. Other than that, you just got Nunez back. Reed Garrett hasn't pitched well since coming back. The best lefty is Danny Young, who's just been okay. So, they're 4 out, and the Cubs are at 5.5 out, and the Giants are 6.5 out. So that is the MLB standing. Let's move on to the NFL roster stuff. All right, so first off, the 2 remaining quarterback competitions have been decided. Mike Tomlin named Russell Wilson starting quarterback for Week 1. Of course, he was in a quarterback battle with Justin Fields. And yesterday he named Russell Wilson the starter. Okay, look, I don't have a ton of confidence in either guy. I would have started Justin Fields, and here's why. Look, you have a very good defense, but still, are you going to completely shut down the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry and company? I don't think so. Are you going to shut down Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase and company? I know Chase is holding out. I'm sure he'll be there by at least, week 2 or 3. I don't think so. So, and the running game isn't that consistent. And G. Harris and Jalen Warren, G. Harris is okay back to me. Warren's a fine, change of pace guy, but the run game isn't scaring me. George Pickens is really their only weapon. Pat Farmer's a decent tight end, but he's nothing special. Who's the rest of the receiving corps? Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin. These guys are death pieces practically. Jefferson's at best a solid 3. That's as good as you're gonna get. And like Russell Wilson, you know what the guy is. He holds on to the ball for a long time. If he throws the ball more than 30 times, he'll be throwing 2-3 picks a game. Not good. So maybe if you start Fields, all right. I don't know. It's hard for me to see them not being better than 7-10, third place in the division. In fact, I could easily see him finishing in last place in that division, to be honest. Maybe Tomlin, waves his wand and drags them to 9-8. He seems to do that every year, no matter the circumstances. Are you going to be better than 9-8? No. Are you going to make the playoffs? I cannot imagine. Unless you somehow the AFC is a little bit weaker than it's advertised, and Tomlin drags you to 9-8, and you get the 17 by the skin of your teeth, and then you're going to get shellacked by the Baltimore Ravens or the Kansas City Chiefs or whoever the hell. Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, whoever. Get shellacked, but I don't see them 9-8 and just outside the playoffs is probably their ceiling, and I think they're going to be close to 7-10. I know Tomlin seems to be able to drag teams. I mean, he dragged that team with Kenny Pickett and that just dreadful offense to 10 wins in the playoffs last year, and then got shellacked by the Buffalo Bills in the first round on the road. But I will start off here. You don't have anything this year. Also, the Steelers, that's the championship organization. They've won 6 Super Bowls. They've had, 3 coaches in 40, 50 years. Obviously you've had so many legends play for that franchise, and they've been as mediocre as it gets for the better part of a decade at this point. At this point, you might as well just, give it a try with Fields. If it somehow works out, and you end up winning an extra game or 2, and you win 10, 11 games, and you're a playoff contender, cool. If it blows up in your face and you win 5 games, it's too bad, so sad. Draft a new quarterback, get a new quarterback, and kind of reset next year. So I would have started Fields. At least Fields, the thing with him is, the problem with him is that he really can't read the defense, and the turnovers are a concern. He's as athletic as he gets at that position, and he actually has a very strong arm. He's just too erratic, and he's and he turns the ball over. That's the problem with him. So, and also their line, I'm not sold on it. It looked really bad in preseason. You have a second-year guy in Robert Jones, the left tackle, who I do like him. I liked him coming out last year. I wanted the Jets to get him. I was mad when Bill kind of screwed the Jets. He let the Pittsburgh Steelers have their picks so that they could draft him. And then, but you kept moving him around last year. I think if you stick him on left tackle, he could be better. But, you're starting. You have a rookie in Fatanu. I don't know if he's playing guard or tackle. Now Samuel, the left guard, who's probably the best off the lineman. He's out the first month of the season. You have a rookie starting at center and Zach Frazier. not feeling too good about their offensive line this year. So, you know. And Russell Wilson, he needs like a whole year to throw the ball. You know, Fields at least is obviously as elusive as it gets at that position. So I would started him. At least here will be tough to game plan for, even if he's not that good of a quarterback. But Russell Wilson is the quarterback there right now. And New England Patriots also named their starter. Jacoby Brissett has been now rookie 3rd overall pick. Drake May for the starter. Look, I think May is ready to start. I absolutely do. That being said, have you seen that offensive line? It is freaking horrible. Their center is pretty good. You have then outside of that, what do you have? Like, you know, I don't know who the left tackle is. Who is the left tackle? I legitimately do not know who the left tackle is. It might be Okorafor, who isn't that good. He's really be on the right side. One of your guards is Cole Strange. That was a reach pick by Bill. He isn't that good. The offensive line is freaking horrid. I mean, all right, you have Michael Wenu, who's very good. All right, he'll be probably the right tackle, I guess. He played a lot of that last year. Maybe you move him back to guard this year. No, I don't know. But the offensive line is very bad. To throw him behind that line, to me, you'd be doing him a disservice. Okay, you're going to get him killed. Start Brissett for now. You know, and also look at your roster. Your receiver isn't any good. Kendrick Bourne was your one, first of all. When your one's Kendrick Bourne, that's a problem. He's hurt. He's gonna miss the first month of the year at least. Other than that, you have Jalen Polk, a second-round rookie, who I do think is talented, could be a solid receiver, but he's not a one right now. Javon Baker in the 4th round. Don't expect much from him this year. Who else? KJ Osborne is maybe a 3 in a good offense, and this is not a good offense. And Demario Douglas, 5th round or last year, flashed a little bit. I don't see him doing much. Maybe he showed me that maybe he could be a serviceable 2 or 3. That's about all he showed me. You know, a decent time Hunter Henry. Yeah, and now the defense takes a hit by trading away Judon. Josh Uche is your only guy that can really rush the passer. Especially with Christian Barmore possibly missing the entire year. He's got some sort of heart problem. So the D-line is just Devon Gottschall and Josh Uche. You have Bentley a linebacker. Secondary should be pretty good with Gonzalez coming back. You have Jonathan Jones, Kyle Duggar. You know, Mayo obviously is a good defensive guy. Also, have you noticed him in the press conferences? Something about it is just really off-putting with me, with Gerald Mayo. I don't know why. It's almost like he's like second-guessing himself. He like says one thing and does the opposite. It's weird. I don't know, but Patriots are gonna be in for a long year. Jacoby says the starter, which I'm not, like I said, I don't mind. You should not throw Drake May behind that off the line right now. You can't. Honestly, if they sign him for the entire year, if the line doesn't improve, I would like. I think you gotta see him at some point. Whether that's week 4. When Brissett is averaging 122 yards and 2 picks a game, it's like, all right, enough. Just throw the kid out there. We're going to win 3 games regardless. Or it's when you're 2-11 and you're officially eliminated. All right, let's give the kid 4 or 5 games just to see what he's got. Audition for next year. But if you sign him for the whole year because of the concerns with the line, I would understand because you don't want to get the kid hurt. Then you got injury, Eagles defensive back James Bradbury's in 6 to 8 weeks. He's got a leg injury. So, I wasn't sure he was even going to make the roster because you draft Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper Jean with your first 2 draft picks. You have a really leg injury there as well. Bradbury's, he's making, $12-13 million a year. Must have restructured his deal. It's kind of a lot of money for a guy who's going to be a backup who had a really bad year last year. Slay is still there. So, I thought he'd be on the roster, but he's on the team for now, but he's obviously going to miss a bunch of time. Their first game is, they're playing Green Bay in Brazil. So it looks like he's going to miss. We probably won't see him until at least like week 6 or so. Because we are about just over a week from the season. And he's going to miss at least 6 to 8 weeks. The Chiefs signed Samaje Perine to their roster for some different. I think that was a good move. He's been in Denver the last couple of years. He's a solid fill-in back. The only depth year we had there was Claude Edwards-Helaire with Jarek McCann no longer there. So I think that was a solid move. They signed Bailey Zappe to their practice squad, obviously from more Patriots cast off. So he's now on their practice squad. And then the Louis Sine, from a first-round pick by the Vikings safety who hasn't worked out. It came out that the Jets had signed him to the practice squad, but he changed his mind. He's going to go play for the Bills instead of on their practice squad. I think because his college coach, one of his college coaches, is with Buffalo, so that was the reason behind that. And the Bills also re-signed Frank Gore Jr. to their practice squad, so that's cool to see. He had a pretty solid career in college, and I thought overall had a good preseason. They didn't make the team out of camp, but he's back on the practice squad. Commanders signed Noah Brown. That was a solid move. He's a third or fourth. He's a 3 or 4 in his late Texas receiver room, just so deep. He's playing for the Cowboys. Commanders. That's how Terry McLaurin really isn't a whole lot there. You lost Curtis Samuel for Ames. You used Trey Dotson to the Eagles for God knows why. So he's probably, honestly, I can make a case that he's the second wide receiver on that roster. You have Lions pick up Allen Robinson, who I think is done. But their receiver room, it doesn't have a ton of depth, I will say. Obviously, Ahmad Raj, James Williams, who's an injury risk, and that's about it. So, 49ers signed Terrence Marshall. They grab him after Carolina cut him. I mean, they're probably just preparing for Ayuk holding out or him getting traded. Falcons made a trade. They trade Taylor Heineke to the Chargers for a 6th-round pick. The guy is making, $5 or $6 million. Obviously, you're paying Kirk Cousins $40+ million. You drafted Michael Penix in the 1st round, obviously. He just wasn't needed anymore. So you send him to the Chargers, but he's not a bad backup. I think in a much better offense than their system, if you need to play, he'd be better. But Herbert also will still, if he's healthy, I'm sure Heineke won't see the field either way. The Browns rework Deshaun Watson's deal. They convert almost $45 million of his base salary to signing bonus that creates almost $36 million in cap space, which gives the Browns $62 million in cap space, currently the most in the league. And they also, they let go of Tyler Huntley. They said DTR was going to be on the roster. So that means either Jameis Winston or Huntley's going to get cut. They cut Huntley. I think Huntley's better than DTR. Both aren't very good. Both are at best serviceable backups, if not third stringers. But Jameis Winston, I think he's played enough football where he can be a decent backup. Huntley gets let go. And they re-signed Donta Foreman, who they had let go. Makes sense Nick Chubb is going to miss at least the first month of the year. And the Vikings signed Brett Rippon for some depth in the quarterback room, and they waived Jared Hall. I mean, Jared Hall is beyond awful. He wasn't good in college. He has not been good at any level ever. The 2 games he played last year, he looked like he had never played football before. He's gone, and now Rippon looks like he'll be the backup for Sam Darnold. That's an interesting quarterback room. Sam Darnold and Brett Rippon. Yikes. With McCarthy out for the year. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Tomorrow, you should see me... should be hopefully by early afternoon or so, with some fantasy football stuff, and then you may see me again during the weekend with some more fantasy football stuff. We're gonna have some guests on. It should be a fun time. But until next time, so long. Have a great day.